My recent video on renting versus buying a home got a huge response, and I want to thank you for all your thoughtful comments. But one question came up more than any other. It's a question that keeps many homeowners awake at night. Once you have a mortgage, what should you do with extra money? Should you pay down your mortgage faster, or should you invest that money instead? It's a classic financial dilemma, and today on Invest Easy 101, we're going to break it down with clear numbers and a simple framework. I understand why this is so stressful. You make that large mortgage payment every month, watching a significant part go to interest, not the principal. At the same time, you hear about the stock market's potential. You wonder if you're making the right choice. You're not alone. This is one of the most common and important decisions in personal finance. Let's walk through it step by step so you can make a choice that brings you both financial progress and peace of mind. Let's start with a realistic example. Imagine you've just bought a home with a 30-year mortgage. The loan is for $500,000 at a 7% interest rate. Your monthly principal and interest payment is about $3,327. Now, let's say after a year, you get a raise and have an extra $1,000 each month. The core question is, do you send that $1,000 as an extra payment to your mortgage, or do you invest it in a low-cost stock market index fund? We'll look at both paths. First, let's explore scenario 1, investing the extra money. You decide to invest that $1,000 per month instead of putting it toward your mortgage. You set up automatic investments into a broad market index fund. For our calculations, we need a reasonable expected return. The stock market has historically averaged about 10% per year over very long periods. To be conservative, accounting for fees, taxes, and uncertainty, let's use a 9% average annual return. Let's also be realistic. Your income will likely grow. We'll assume you increase your monthly investment by 3% each year to reflect raises. If you do this consistently for the remaining 29 years of your mortgage term, that invested money could grow to approximately $1.83 million. That's a substantial sum, built just from that extra $1,000 per month and the power of compound growth. At first glance, investing seems like the obvious winner. But before we decide, we need to deeply understand how a mortgage works. Most people have a fundamental misunderstanding. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage, almost all of your payment goes toward interest, not paying down the loan itself. This process is called amortization. With our $500,000 loan at 7%, your first payment of $3,327 sends about $2,917 to interest and only $410 to principal. Even after 5 years, the majority of your payment is still interest. It takes over 20 years before your monthly payment finally applies more to principal than interest. This is why banks love long mortgages. For decades, you are mainly paying for the privilege of having the loan. Understanding this is key to evaluating your next move. Now, let's look at scenario 2, aggressively paying down the mortgage. You take that extra $1,000 per month and apply it directly to your mortgage principal. Here's the powerful part. Unlike your regular payment, this extra $1,000 goes 100% toward reducing your loan balance. It doesn't get eaten up by interest. We'll assume this extra payment also grows by 3% each year, just like the investment did. The results are dramatic. By making these extra payments, you would pay off your 30-year mortgage in just over 16 years, shaving nearly 14 years off the loan. The total interest you pay over the life of the loan drops by about $380,000. That's a massive saving. Many financial discussions stop here and declare paying down the mortgage the winner. But that's an incomplete picture. We have to account for the money you spent to get those savings. You made about 195 months of extra payments, totaling roughly $238,000. So, your net savings from paying less interest is about $142,000. That's excellent, but it's still far less than the $1.83 million potential from investing. But we're still not done. There's a crucial next phase. Once your mortgage is paid off early, you no longer have that monthly payment. So, starting in year 16, you can now invest your entire former mortgage payment. The original $3,327 plus the $1,000 you were paying extra. That's $4,327 freed up. If you invest that amount for the remaining 14 years until the original 30-year mark, it grows significantly. Let's run those numbers. Investing $4,327 for those remaining years at a 9% return could grow to about $1.19 million. Add that to your $142,000 in net interest savings, and the total value from the pay down first strategy is roughly $1.33 million. Now we can compare. Scenario 1, invest only, about $1.83 million. Scenario 2, pay down then invest, about $1.33 million. Based purely on these numbers, investing comes out ahead by about $500,000. So, is the case closed? Should everyone always invest extra money instead of paying down their mortgage? Not necessarily. We must now discuss a critical concept: risk, specifically sequence of returns risk. The stock market does not give you a smooth 9% every year. Some years it's up sharply, some years it's down sharply. The order or sequence of those good and bad years can significantly impact your final result, especially if you need to sell during a downturn.
Paying down your mortgage carries no such risk. It provides a guaranteed return equal to your mortgage interest rate. In our example, every extra dollar paid toward a 7% mortgage gives you a guaranteed, risk-free 7% return on that dollar. You will never get a statement showing that return went down. In a world where safe investments like treasury bonds pay around 4 to 5%, a guaranteed 7% is very compelling. There's also a tax benefit. The interest you save is not taxable income. So we have a dilemma. Investing offers a potentially higher total result, but comes with market risk and volatility. Paying down the mortgage offers a lower but guaranteed return and immense psychological peace. What's the right answer? For most people, it's not an either-or decision. The best approach is often a blend of both. I call this balanced approach the financial freedom framework. Personal finance is deeply personal. The mathematically optimal answer might be to invest everything, but that doesn't account for your personal need for security and peace of mind. Money is about more than spreadsheets. It's about sleep, stress, and the story you tell yourself about your financial life. The financial freedom framework acknowledges this by allowing you to split your extra money between both goals. You might choose a 50-50 split. Half your extra cash goes to mortgage prepayment, half to investing. Or a 60-40 split leaning toward investing. A helpful guideline is to consider your mortgage interest rate. If your rate is very high, above 7 to 8%, the guaranteed return from paying it down is very attractive. If your rate is very low, below 4%, the potential spread from investing is likely worth the risk. If your rate is in the middle, like our 7% example, a split strategy makes great sense. Let's quickly see how a 50-50 split would work with our $1,000 example. You pay an extra $500 on your mortgage and invest $500 each month. With this plan, you'd pay off your mortgage in about 21 years instead of 30. After it's paid off, you invest the freed up payment. When you run all the numbers through to the 30-year mark, this blended approach could result in a portfolio worth around $1.38 million. That's less than the invest-only result, but more than the pay-down-only result. More importantly, you get the psychological benefit of becoming mortgage-free almost a decade early, while still participating in market growth. You are balancing safety and growth. There are clear situations where one strategy should be prioritized. If you have any high-interest debt, like credit cards over 10%, pay that off completely before anything else. That's a guaranteed high return you can't beat. If you are within 10 years of retirement, focusing on paying off your mortgage can dramatically reduce your needed retirement income. If your job is unstable, reducing your mandatory monthly payment, the mortgage, can be more valuable than potential investment gains. Conversely, if you have a very low mortgage rate, like 3%, if you lack an emergency fund, or if you're not yet getting your full employer 401k match, those should be higher priorities than extra mortgage payments. Ultimately, the right answer starts not with math, but with you. Before you run a single calculation, ask yourself, what does financial freedom mean to me? For some, it's the profound peace of a paid-off home. For others, it's the flexibility and growth of a large investment portfolio. Neither vision is wrong. Your financial plan should serve your life and your values. The Financial Freedom Framework is simply a tool to help you execute your vision intentionally. It moves you away from a state of anxious indecision and toward confident, purposeful action. You might choose to invest 70% and prepay 30%. You might flip that ratio. The key is that you are making an informed choice, not reacting to fear or following generic advice. Remember, the goal isn't to optimize only for the highest number in 30 years. The goal is to build a financial life that lets you sleep well at night while you're on the journey. A plan that balances guaranteed returns with growth potential can provide both security and opportunity. It allows you to build equity in your home and in the market simultaneously. So, take a moment. Define what freedom means to you. Look at your mortgage rate, your age, your job security, and your personal tolerance for risk. Then, decide on your own split. Whether it's 100% toward investing, 100% toward the mortgage, or a blend, commit to it with confidence. You are taking control of your financial path with clarity, and that is the most powerful step of all. Thank you for joining me for this important discussion on Invest Easy 101. If this framework helped clarify a tough decision, please consider subscribing. We're here to make complex financial choices clear and manageable, one step at a time. Let us know in the comments what money dilemma you'd like us to tackle next.